Welcome, friends, to Wisdom and Wealth, the channel for those seeking a richer, more meaningful life. So many of us, especially as we get older, find ourselves feeling restless, even when we seemingly have everything we should need to feel at peace. We chase happiness through accomplishments, through relationships, through controlling every aspect of our existence. But when we finally reach these supposed pinnacles, something still feels missing. It's not necessarily because we lack something tangible, it's often because we're carrying too much unnecessary weight. The profound teachings of the Buddha reveal that true happiness isn't found in what we accumulate, but in what we consciously release. Think of it as decluttering your mind as much as your home. The more tightly we cling to expectations, to past wounds, to rigid ideas about ourselves and the world, the more we restrict the natural joy that yearns to flow through us. This isn't about deprivation, it's about liberation. If you're intrigued by the idea of decluttering your mind and finding lasting peace, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel, Buddhist Doctrine. We explore timeless wisdom for a fulfilling life. Letting go is not a sign of weakness, nor is it akin to simply giving up. Instead, it is a display of profound strength. It's a conscious and deliberate choice to return to our truest, most authentic nature. As the Buddha so eloquently stated, you can only lose what you cling to. And there's so much truth in that. In this video, we will explore profound Buddhist lessons that gently uncover the transformative power of letting go and understanding why it is not just a part of the path to happiness, but the path itself. We'll delve into practical ways you, too, can begin to release the burdens that are keeping you from experiencing true joy and fulfillment. As we journey together, consider the areas in your life where you might be holding on too tightly. Perhaps it's time to release the grip and discover the lightness that awaits. Let's embark on this path to inner freedom, together. One of the first things you need to release is the illusion of total control, because you were never truly meant to hold it all in. In today's fast-paced and often chaotic world, so many of us operate under the misguided belief that if we can just manage and control every single aspect of our lives, we will finally feel safe, secure, and, ultimately, happy. It's a seductive lie that keeps us trapped in a cycle of constant striving. We try to meticulously manage everything, from our careers and finances to our closest relationships and future goals. We even attempt to control other people's opinions and behaviors, a task that is, of course, utterly futile. We create elaborate to-do lists, craft intricate long-term plans, and even develop backup plans for our backup plans, all in the name of feeling in control. We foolishly think that the more control we exert, the less stress we will experience. But in reality, this relentless need to control everything only creates more stress, more anxiety, and more disappointment. Why? Because life is not something we can trap, contain, or perfectly shape to our liking. It is an ever-changing river. Life is like a river, constantly flowing, shifting, and changing its course, often in unpredictable ways. No matter how hard you try, you simply cannot make the river stay still or bend to your will. That's a lesson that many of us, especially as we get older and set in our ways, struggle to accept. Buddhism teaches us that trying to control the uncontrollable is one of the deepest sources of suffering. When we resist what is happening, we are essentially fighting against reality itself, an exercise in futility. But the truth is, there is great peace to be found in surrender. Letting go of the need for total control doesn't mean that you suddenly stop caring about your life or your goals. It doesn't mean that you become passive, lazy, or give up on your ambitions. It simply means that you stop clinging to the rigid belief that everything has to go exactly according to your meticulously crafted plans in order for you to be happy. This is a vital concept for anyone seeking more peace in their lives. Remember to like and subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel for more great content. When you loosen your grip and allow life to unfold more naturally, you begin to feel a profound sense of lightness and ease inside. You learn to trust the flow of events, even when they don't immediately make sense. You become more open to unexpected opportunities and serendipitous moments. You stop obsessing over problems and instead start responding to them with greater clarity, calm, and resourcefulness. And, most importantly, you begin to live more fully in the present moment, unburdened by anxieties about the future or frustrations about the past. Remember, letting go of the need for control is not a weakness, it is an act of immense strength, maturity, and deep inner wisdom. It means consciously choosing peace over the illusion of perfection. It means understanding that true safety and security do not come from managing everything around you, but from trusting that, whatever happens, you will ultimately be okay. And sometimes, the most beautiful and meaningful moments in life arrive not when everything goes according to plan, but when you simply allow life to surprise you, to unfold in its own unique and unexpected way. The second thing to let go of is the weight of the past, because your scars are an integral part of your story, not the definitive end. Almost everyone carries some kind of burden from their past, whether it's a painful memory, a regretful mistake, a deep-seated betrayal, or a profound loss, that still aches deep inside. These lingering wounds can cast a long shadow over our present lives, hindering our ability to fully embrace joy and peace. Sometimes, we find ourselves compulsively replaying these painful moments in our minds, as if somehow holding on to them will magically change what happened. But no matter how much we ruminate, analyze, or dissect the past, we cannot go back and undo it. The pain may have been very real, and it is important to acknowledge that pain, but when we keep reliving it, we only perpetuate our suffering. Buddhism teaches us that suffering doesn't arise solely from what happened to us, but from how tightly we hold on to it. The past is already gone, irretrievable. Yet, our minds have a remarkable, and sometimes detrimental, ability to bring it back into the present, effectively turning it into a heavy burden that we carry with us every day. Letting go of the past doesn't mean forgetting it or pretending that it didn't hurt. It means understanding that what happened no longer has the power to control you, unless you continuously give it permission to do so by feeding it your attention. Every time you tell yourself, "I should have done better," or "I'll never recover from that," you are essentially granting the past permission to shape your identity and dictate your future. But the truth is, you are not your pain. You are not your mistakes. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are what you choose to become, now, in this very moment. Buddhism encourages us to practice radical acceptance, not in the sense of condoning or agreeing with what hurt us, but in the sense of ceasing to fight against it. Accept that the pain existed. Accept that it has irrevocably changed you in some ways. But also accept that you no longer need to carry it like a weight chained to your soul. When you stop identifying yourself by your wounds, you begin to see that they were only one chapter in your story, not the entirety of the book. Just as the lotus flower emerges from muddy water, your greatest growth often springs from the very places where you were once broken. Letting go of the past is not about erasing your history, it's about consciously choosing not to be imprisoned by it anymore. You can look back with compassion, acknowledging that a part of you was hurting, but affirming that you are healing now. You can honor your journey without allowing your past to define your future. Please consider liking and subscribing to the Buddhist Doctrine channel for more great content. And as you gently set down the burden that you have been carrying for so long, you create space for new experiences, new joys, and a lighter, more peaceful heart. The third thing to let go of is expectations, because the world doesn't owe you your ideal version of it. One of the quietest yet most pervasive ways we create unnecessary suffering in our lives is through the burden of our expectations. We carry around an invisible list of how life is supposed to be, how people should treat us, how our efforts should be rewarded, how quickly success should arrive, and how smoothly our days should unfold. And when reality inevitably deviates from these carefully constructed hopes, we feel disappointed, frustrated, or even heartbroken. But the truth is, the world doesn't exist solely to fulfill our expectations. People are not always going to say the right thing or act in the way we deem appropriate. Situations are not always going to go according to plan. And life is not always going to move at the speed or in the direction you have imagined. Buddhism teaches us that expectations are often the very root of our suffering. When we expect one thing and reality delivers something else entirely, we resist, we fight, we ask, "Why isn't this happening the way I wanted?" But true peace doesn't reside in the gap between expectation and reality. It resides in your ability to gracefully embrace the present moment, even when it looks drastically different than you had pictured. Think about how often your stress and anxiety stem not from what is actually happening, but from your internal belief that it shouldn't be happening. For example, when someone is rude to you, it's not just the rudeness itself that causes pain, but your expectation that they should have been kind and respectful. When a goal takes longer to achieve than you initially imagined, it's not just the delay that creates frustration, but your ingrained expectation of swift and immediate success. The tighter we cling to how things should be, the harder it becomes to truly see and accept how things actually are. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean that you give up hope. It doesn't mean that you stop dreaming, setting goals, or having standards. It simply means that you stop demanding that the world rigidly conform to your preconceived version of it. It means replacing the question, "Why isn't this happening the way I want?" with a more open and curious inquiry, such as, "What is life trying to show me right now?" It's about trading control for curiosity and disappointment for acceptance. When you release your expectations, something beautiful and transformative happens. You begin to genuinely appreciate what is already present in front of you instead of constantly mourning what is missing. You become more open to unexpected surprises, to valuable learning opportunities, and to being shaped by life rather than perpetually trying to shape it to your will. And with that openness comes a profound sense of peace. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel. Not because everything is suddenly perfect, but because you're no longer wasting precious energy wishing it were different. Let go of the shoulds. Let go of the rigid ideas of how things must unfold. Life will not always follow your script, but it is still brimming with meaning, wonder, and quiet beauty if you are willing to see it as it truly is, not just as you expect it to be. Fourth thing to let go of is attachment, because the more you cling, the more you suffer. We are born into this world with open hands, ready to receive all that life has to offer. Yet, as we grow and accumulate experiences, we begin to close our grip around the things we think we need in order to be happy. We cling tightly to people, possessions, titles, outcomes, and even our own emotions. We declare, "This is mine. This must stay. This must never change." And so we hold on with increasing desperation, fearing loss, fearing change, fearing anything that might take away what we love or what we think defines us. But the deeper truth, as revealed by Buddhist wisdom, is that all things are impermanent. Nothing lasts forever. Not your youth, not your job, not your loved ones, not your successes, not even your pain. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you hold in your heart is in a constant state of flux, of change, of transformation. When we fail to recognize and accept this fundamental truth, we inevitably suffer. We become consumed by the fear of losing what we have or devastated when it inevitably slips away. The problem isn't that things change, the problem is that we expected them to stay the same. Attachment whispers, "I need this to feel whole." It creates the false belief that our happiness is contingent upon keeping certain things close and unchanged. But clinging is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. Buddhism doesn't ask us to stop loving or caring. It doesn't tell us to abandon joy or reject beauty. It simply teaches us to love more freely, without chains. It invites us to hold things gently, knowing that they are not ours to keep, but ours to experience. It reminds us that true peace doesn't come from locking things in place, but from flowing with life's natural rhythm of gain and loss, of coming and going. Imagine sitting peacefully by a flowing river, watching leaves gently float by. Each leaf represents a moment, a person, a chapter in your life, or a fleeting emotion. When we are attached, we instinctively try to grab a leaf and keep it, to possess it. But the river keeps flowing relentlessly, and when we stubbornly refuse to let go, we inevitably get dragged along with it, creating unnecessary suffering because we are resisting the natural current. But when we sit with open hands, when we watch the leaf float by and smile with gratitude instead of fear, we align ourselves with the fundamental truth of impermanence. We accept that nothing stays forever, and in that acceptance, we become truly free. This doesn't mean that you stop loving the people in your life. It means that you stop trying to possess them. It means that you don't build your entire identity around things that can easily be taken away. You learn to love deeply, without trying to trap the moment. You learn to care, without fear. You learn to appreciate, without clinging. And this kind of love, open, aware, and present, is far more beautiful and profound than the kind of love that springs from the fear of loss. Letting go of attachment allows you to live with more joy, not less. You become lighter, more grateful, more fully alive to each passing moment. You stop needing things to be permanent in order to be meaningful. You stop fearing change and start welcoming it as a natural and integral part of life. You begin to understand that true happiness was never about owning, but about experiencing fully, without grasping. If you're getting value from this discussion, make sure to like and subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel, and hit the notification bell. So, take a deep breath and consciously loosen your grip. Life is always moving, always shifting, always transforming. Let it. When you stop clinging, you stop suffering. And in that vast space of freedom, peace gently enters, not because everything stayed the same, but because you finally stopped needing it to. The fifth thing to let go of is the inner critic, because your thoughts are not the ultimate truth. There is a voice inside your head that you hear every single day, even when no one else is around. It whispers opinions about you, judges your actions, and labels your worth. This voice often becomes particularly loud and critical when you fail, when you feel uncertain or vulnerable, or when you make a mistake. It says things like, "You always mess things up, you're just not good enough," or "You don't deserve happiness." And because it's coming from within your own mind, you start to believe it, to internalize it as truth. You think, if I'm saying this to myself, it must be true. But here's what Buddhist wisdom gently reveals: you are not your thoughts. That critical inner voice is not the absolute truth about you. It's simply a stream of mental habits, patterns, and beliefs that have been formed by your past experiences, your fears, your expectations, and your lingering pain. The mind is like a storyteller that never stops talking. It pulls from memory, from societal conditioning, from old wounds, and creates stories, some helpful, many harmful. It's not always intentionally trying to hurt you, but it is often attempting to protect you from perceived dangers by keeping you small, safe, and hidden. It mistakenly equates harshness with discipline, confusing self-criticism with self-improvement. But constant judgment and relentless self-attack don't lead to growth, they lead to debilitating shame. And shame is like a dense fog that obscures your inner light, making you forget how strong, beautiful, and capable you truly are. When you begin to consciously observe your thoughts instead of automatically believing them, you create a sacred space between you and your inner critic. You start to notice patterns, to recognize that many of your thoughts are repetitive, like a broken record playing old fears and outdated beliefs. You realize that these thoughts often contradict each other. One moment you're berating yourself for not doing enough, and the next you're criticizing yourself for doing too much. You begin to see just how unstable, unreliable, and easily influenced the mind can be, how quickly it can jump from praise to criticism and back again. And then, something profound and powerful happens: you stop taking it so seriously. Buddhism teaches the practice of mindfulness, not just to calm the mind, but to see it clearly, to observe its machinations without judgment or attachment. When you become the witness of your thoughts rather than their victim, you begin to reclaim your inner space. You realize that there is a fundamental difference between a thought and the one who observes the thought. That observer within you, that quiet awareness, is who you really are. And that awareness is inherently peaceful, wise, and deeply compassionate. It does not judge, it simply sees. Please remember to like and subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel for more valuable wisdom. Letting go of your inner critic doesn't mean pretending that you have no flaws or refusing to strive for improvement. It means replacing self-punishment with self-understanding. It means responding to yourself the way you would respond to a dear friend, with kindness, patience, and unwavering encouragement. When you make a mistake, it's not a sign that you're fundamentally broken. It's simply a moment for reflection, for learning, not for self-rejection. When you feel lost or uncertain, it's not proof that you've failed. It's a call to reconnect with your inner wisdom, not to condemn yourself. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that being hard on yourself will somehow make you stronger, but in truth, self-compassion is the real path to profound transformation. Because when you feel safe and accepted within yourself, you're naturally more open to growth, to learning, to taking risks, and to pursuing your dreams. When you treat yourself with love and respect, you naturally want to take better care of your mind, your body, and your choices, not out of guilt or obligation, but out of deep respect for who you are and who you are becoming. Letting go of your inner critic is not a one-time act, it's a daily practice, a conscious choice to cultivate a more compassionate inner dialogue. You catch yourself when the harsh voice returns, you pause, you breathe, you question it, and you offer yourself a softer, kinder response. And over time, the harsh, critical voice begins to grow quieter. In its place, a new voice begins to emerge, a voice rooted in truth, not in fear. It says things like, "You're learning. You're trying. You are enough. Be gentle with yourself. You have carried so much for so long. You have survived battles no one knows about. You have walked through dark seasons and still shown up for life. You deserve a mind that treats you like a friend, not a battlefield." And the moment you stop believing every critical thought that enters your mind, you begin to step into your real power, not by fixing yourself, but by remembering that you were never fundamentally broken in the first place. And the sixth thing to let go of, is the need for validation. Not everyone needs to understand your journey. As human beings, we are born with a deep and innate desire to be seen, heard, understood, and accepted. From our earliest years, we look to the world around us, to our parents, our teachers, our peers, for approval and validation. We want to be told, "You're doing well, you're enough, you matter." And while this desire is perfectly natural and human, if we're not careful, it can subtly become a silent chain around our spirit, limiting our freedom and preventing us from living authentically. We begin to live not for ourselves, but for the perceived expectations and approval of others. We unconsciously shape our choices, our appearance, our dreams, and even our personality to please the people around us and to avoid judgment or rejection. We start performing, editing, and adjusting ourselves, always seeking external validation to fill a void within. But the deeper truth is this: not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will agree with your path. Not everyone will see your worth, your pain, your efforts, or your growth. And that's perfectly okay. You were never meant to fit into every mold. You were never meant to be understood by every mind. Buddhism teaches that clinging to the approval of others is just another form of attachment, a subtle but powerful form of bondage that slowly eats away at your inner peace. When you tie your self-worth to someone else's validation, you inadvertently give them power over your joy and your sense of self. You become like a leaf in the wind, drifting aimlessly wherever other people's opinions and judgments blow. And in the process, you lose sight of your own center, your own truth, and your own unique path. Letting go of the need for validation doesn't mean becoming cold, indifferent, or disconnected. It simply means learning to walk through the world anchored in your own truth, secure in your own worth, and guided by your own inner compass. It means recognizing that your value doesn't rise or fall based on the praise or criticism of others. It means consciously choosing to follow your path because it resonates with your soul, not because it will win applause from the crowd. When you live this way, something shifts profoundly within you. You no longer feel the constant need to convince anyone of your worth. You don't feel compelled to explain your every choice or decision. You don't waste precious energy trying to prove yourself to people who were never meant to understand your journey. Think of the Buddha himself. He walked away from a life of royalty, he abandoned wealth, comfort, and power to seek something deeper, something that the world could not offer. Many people did not understand his choices. Some criticized him, some rejected his path. But he did not beg for their approval. He simply walked in his truth, and through that unwavering courage, he lit the way for countless others. Please subscribe and like our Buddhist doctrine channel. You, too, have that power within you, the power to live with quiet conviction, to trust your inner knowing, and to follow your own unique path, regardless of what others may think or say. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to explain your healing process. You don't have to justify your boundaries, your solitude, or your joy. Sometimes, silence is the loudest proof of self-trust. Sometimes, walking away without resentment is the greatest act of strength. And here's the beautiful paradox: when you let go of the desperate need to be validated, you often begin to attract deeper respect and genuine connection. Because people sense when you are no longer performing, when you are no longer seeking their approval. They feel the calm confidence and authentic presence in your being. You're no longer trying to be liked, you're simply being real. And that authenticity is magnetic. But even if the world never fully sees your depth, you must see it for yourself. You must become your own witness, your own supporter, your own safe place. This doesn't mean that you isolate yourself from meaningful connection. It means that you learn to stand firmly in your inner knowing, even when the outside world offers nothing but silence. You begin to offer yourself the kind words of encouragement that you once waited to hear from others. You stop asking, "Do they understand me?" and start asking, "Do I understand myself?" Letting go of the need for validation is not about becoming indifferent, it's about becoming free, free to be honest, free to grow, free to fail and rise again without shame, and most importantly, free to live your life according to your own inner light, not someone else's shadow. So, if you feel misunderstood, take a deep breath. You are not lost. You are simply walking a path that was meant for your feet alone. Keep walking, keep growing, keep shining, even if no one claps, because your journey is sacred, and your peace is too important to place in someone else's hands. Seventh thing you need to let go of is the idea that you need to find yourself. You were never really lost. So many of us navigate through life with the underlying belief that we are somehow missing something, that we are incomplete, that we must embark on a long and often exhausting search to find ourselves, as if we are buried treasure hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered. We look outward. We travel far and wide. We consume countless books and seek out new experiences. We compare our lives to the seemingly perfect lives of others, all in the hope that one day, we will finally feel whole. We ask ourselves questions like, "Who am I really?" and "What is my purpose?" And when the answers don't come easily, we feel even more lost and confused than before. But the teachings of Buddhism gently invite us to stop frantically looking outward and to start returning inward. They offer a radical and liberating truth: you do not need to find yourself. What has happened is never that your true self has been lost, only that it has been covered up, layer by years of conditioning, fear, expectation, and the incessant noise of the world. You've been told who you're supposed to be. You've been taught to wear masks. You've been pressured to chase goals that were never really yours. And in the process, you've simply forgotten the quiet essence of who you truly are. Letting go of the idea that you must find yourself is not about giving up, it's about realizing that your journey is not one of discovery, but one of remembering. You are not a puzzle to be solved. You are not a machine that needs to be fixed. You are already whole, complete, and perfect beneath the layers of noise and doubt. And your real task is not to become someone new, but to gently peel away everything that is not authentically you. This process is not dramatic. It is not loud. It does not require the world's applause. It is quiet and sacred. It's the moment you stop trying to impress others. It's the moment you stop chasing an idealized image of yourself. It's the moment you stop anxiously asking, "Am I enough?" and begin to simply live from the inner knowing that you already are. Your true self is not found in titles, in labels, in achievements, or in external validation. It is found in your stillness, in your breath, in your presence, in the calm you feel when you are no longer pretending. Buddhism teaches that the self is not a fixed entity. It is not a solid object that can be pinned down, defined, and described once and for all. Instead, the self is like water, always flowing, always changing, always responding to its container. This means that you don't have to stay the same. You don't have to hold on rigidly to the person you once were. You don't have to limit yourself to the identity that the world has given you. You are free to grow, to expand, to evolve, and to let go of whatever no longer fits. And in doing so, you come closer and closer to your natural state, open, peaceful, and vibrantly alive. Letting go of the need to find yourself also relieves a profound pressure. It means you no longer have to force clarity. You no longer have to chase big, profound answers. You can stop grasping for something outside of yourself and begin simply being with yourself, in silence, in acceptance, in the gentle unfolding of your life. Each day, each breath, each small decision is a way of coming home to yourself, of remembering who you truly are beneath the layers of conditioning and expectation. You are not defined by your job, not by your past, not by your traumas or your achievements. You are not the version of yourself that someone else sees. You are not the mask you wear when you feel afraid. You are not even your thoughts or your emotions. All of these are passing clouds in the vast sky of your being. But beneath them, you remain unchanged, steady, and always enough. When you let go of the illusion that your worth is somewhere out there, waiting to be found, you reclaim the peace that has always been in here, within you. You stop waiting for some future version of yourself to give you permission to be happy. You stop postponing love, peace, and joy. And you begin to live now, with gentleness, with gratitude, with awareness. Please like and subscribe to our channel. So, pause. Let go of the frantic chase. Breathe deeply into this very moment. You don't need to go find yourself. You simply need to return to the part of you that has always been here, watching, waiting, and loving you through it all. That part of you is your truth. That part of you is your home. And it was never really lost, it was only forgotten. The eighth, and final, thing that you need to let go of, is resistance, because peace begins when you stop fighting against life. There is a quiet war that many of us are fighting every single day, a war not against others, but against reality itself. We resist what is. We push back against what's happening. We tell ourselves, this shouldn't be happening, it's not fair, or, it wasn't supposed to be this way. And in this constant resistance, we suffer, not because life is inherently cruel or unfair, but because we are fighting with life rather than flowing with it. Buddhism teaches us that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And suffering is born when we resist the present moment instead of accepting it with open arms. Imagine holding onto a rope that's being pulled tightly from the other end. The more you pull back in resistance, the more the rope burns your hands, creating friction and pain. But the moment you let go, the tension disappears, and the pain stops. Life is often like that rope. We try to control outcomes, we try to undo what's already happened, we try to escape uncomfortable feelings, and in doing so, we tighten the rope, creating unnecessary conflict where there could have been stillness. The mind whispers, this isn't right, it could have turned out differently, or, I don't feel prepared for this. And when we believe thoughts like these, we put up a barrier between ourselves and peace. Letting go of resistance doesn't mean giving up or passively accepting everything that happens to you. Instead, it's about meeting life with openness, not with argument or struggle. It's about looking at what's right in front of you and saying, this is here. I may not like it, and I may not understand it, but I choose to stop fighting it. Only when you stop pushing against what is do you begin to see more clearly. When you resist, your thinking becomes clouded with judgment, fear, and tension. But when you ease into acceptance, a new space opens up inside. And in that space, healing can begin, clarity can grow, and wisdom can gently guide you forward. To achieve great peace, you must surrender. This surrender isn't about giving up, it's about letting yourself move with life, growing through whatever comes your way, and learning from change. When you let go of the need to make life fit into your perfectly curated picture, you begin to see the good in what's already here. You start trusting that even the hardest parts of life have value, purpose, and hidden lessons to teach you. What feels like chaos could actually be the beginning of profound transformation. What looks like a door closing might actually be guiding you to somewhere even better. Here's something that people often forget: you don't have to like a situation in order to stop resisting it. You just have to stop arguing with it. Acceptance doesn't mean approval, it's recognition. It's being able to say, this is what's happening now. How can I meet it with calm instead of anger, with wisdom instead of worry? You do this by breathing with it, sitting with it, allowing it to be as it is, for now. In that calm space, you can start making grounded, thoughtful choices instead of reacting from panic or stress. In Buddhism, the root of peace is taught to be non-resistance. Even if storms rage outside, your mind can be calm and steady inside. Like the ocean floor, stillness isn't about escaping life, it comes from holding each moment gently, not running or denying, but welcoming even the hard times with a heart that says, I will walk through this, too. When you stop resisting, you make space for life to move again. You stop holding your breath. You stop bracing for what's next. You start relaxing into your own strength. You begin to believe that you can handle whatever comes your way. This trust brings a different kind of strength, not from forcing things to change, but from changing within. If you feel tired of fighting, or worn down by wishing things were different, pause, step back, and let go. Allow life to be just as it is, even if only for this moment. Release the need for things to be perfect before you can feel peace. The truth is, peace starts not when life changes, but when you do. When you start allowing instead of resisting, when you move with the flow instead of trying to control it, when you rest in the stillness of right now instead of running from it. We often think happiness is something we must chase, something we earn through struggle and success. But what if happiness isn't hidden in a future goal, in someone else's approval, or in a perfect life? What if happiness is right here, quietly waiting beneath everything you carry? The Buddha's teaching reminds us that happiness isn't about getting more, but about letting go. Let go of the need for control. Let go of the weight of the past. Let go of rigid expectations. Release the critical thoughts and the attachments that weigh you down. Every burden you set down isn't a loss, it's a return to yourself. It's a return to peace, to the calm beneath all the noise. You don't have to fix everything to feel better. You don't have to wait for a perfect life to feel free. All you need to do is loosen your grip, start unlocking the chains you've put around your own heart, and trust that letting go isn't giving up, it's making space, space for healing, space for growth, space for truly being present in your life. In that spaciousness, your truest self, untouched by pain, fear, or failure, comes alive again. You aren't here to carry the weight of the world. You are here to live with lightness, clarity, and love. And that begins not by holding on tightly, but by letting go of what no longer serves you. The more you let go, the more you let life move. The more you trust, the more peace finds you. The more you surrender, the more you remember that you were never broken, only covered up. So, walk gently now. Be kind to yourself. Let go, little by little. And watch how happiness, like sunlight breaking through the clouds, starts to shine where the heaviness once lived, not as a reward, but as your true nature, the state you were always meant to return to. Happiness isn't what you get when life becomes easy, it's what you reveal when you stop needing life to be different. We thank you for watching this video and be sure to share it with someone you love.